Hey guys, John Farrell with the Farrell Law Firm here. Today we're going to talk about the 4 simple steps it takes to get an estate plan in place. Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We put out new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and make sure you hit the like button because every like helps. All right, John Farrell with the Farrell Law Firm here. To tell you a little bit about myself, I am the author of Estate Planning for the Modern Family, and I was recently voted one of the top 3 lawyers here in Cobb County, Georgia, along with the law firm being voted one of the top 3 law firms here in Cobb County, Georgia. Well, today we're going to talk about the 4 simple steps to getting an estate plan into place. An estate plan is something that really everyone needs, regardless of how old or young you are, how modest or wealthy you are. It is very important to get an estate plan into place because an estate plan can do so many things for you. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, number 1, the first step into getting an estate plan into place is getting a power of attorney. A power of attorney, I call it a disability document. It's really there to help someone such as a trusted family member like a spouse or an adult child, do simple things for you if you're unable to do them yourself. Maybe you've become disabled or incapacitated for one reason or another. Perhaps it's a car wreck. Perhaps you're just getting older in age and it's just being much more difficult for you to do simple things for yourself. It'll allow this trusted family member to do these things for you, like pay your bills, file your taxes, things of that nature. Things you would normally do for yourself, you've just become disabled and you're unable to do them. And that's why you can see this is something that applies to not only very young people, but also, older people, because anybody can get in a car wreck and find themselves in a hospital unable to do simple things for themselves. This power of attorney is related to your finances. It will help that person make financial decisions for you. All right, so the number 2 thing to get an estate plan into place is to get yourself an advance directive for healthcare. This is also what I call a disability document because it's there just in case you become disabled or incapacitated. So you know how the power of attorney handles issues related to your finances? Well, the advance directive for healthcare handles things related to your healthcare. It will help a trusted family member, again, like a spouse or an adult child, do things like talk to the doctors on your behalf, access your medical records. It will allow you to make some decisions about the withholding or the withdrawal of life support systems. So it is a very useful document. In fact, oftentimes these 2 documents, the power of attorney and the advance directive, can be really more important than your last will and testament. Believe me, when you pass away, people will come and get your things. But if you find yourself disabled because of a car accident or just simply incapacitated because of old age, it will be a nightmare for your family to do simple things for you without this power of attorney and advance directive in place. So the first 2 things to do are get a power of an attorney, and the second is to get an advance directive for healthcare. All right, so the number 3 thing that you need to do is establish a will or a revocable living trust. Now, there are benefits to both, and there is just one disadvantage to the trust. I've done a video on that, and you'll have to check that out on the channel. But either way, you should establish a last will and testament or a revocable living trust. You should see an estate planning attorney to help you make those decisions. Well, while you're making this last will and testament or the revocable living trust, there are a few things for you to consider with getting your estate plan in place. Number 1, you need to define your estate planning goals. What is it that you want this estate plan to do? Do you want the estate plan to choose who raises your minor children? Do you want this estate plan to put aside protection, perhaps for a child with special needs? Do you want this estate plan to do something like ensure that your business goes into the right hands if you become disabled or perhaps you pass away? Are you interested in minimizing taxes, legal fees, and court fees? Are you interested in minimizing those? Is there a group or a charity that you want to help support? These are just things that you need to consider when you are thinking about an estate plan. You just want to define your estate planning goals. What is it that you want this estate plan to do? Lawyers, we can help make the right plan so that these goals are accomplished. So the second thing that you need to do while you're looking over your establishing the last will and testament or the revocable living trust is list your assets. Now, this is relatively easy. Assets are things that you own. These are things like your home, your car, perhaps an investment account, perhaps life insurance policies and annuities. Perhaps things like mineral rights. I practice law in Texas. We have people who have a lot of oil rights in Texas. What you need to do is just sit down and list your assets. Now, speaking with an experienced estate planning attorney can help you consider assets that you might not normally consider. These things might be like digital assets, like your photos that you have on Facebook or Snapfish. I think that's the name of the website. But other places where you have these digital assets, even cryptocurrency, things of that nature. So talking with an experienced estate planning attorney will help you make sure that you get this list of assets together and that it's comprehensive. All right. Third thing that you need to do while you're putting your last will and testament or revocable living trust into place is choose your beneficiaries. These are the people that will be receiving your assets once you pass away. A lot of married couples will say something to this effect. If something happens to me, I just want everything to go to my spouse or my children. But sometimes people, they want to support charities or perhaps a local church that they attend. So you want to make sure that you have this list in mind of where you want your things to go, whether it be your spouse, and if your spouse isn't here, your children, or a charity that you want to support, or some combination of all of those things. So put that into consideration when you're working on your last will and testament or your revocable living trust. Finally, you're going to need to choose someone who's going to be taking care of these things when you're no longer here. On the will side, this person is called an executor. On the trust side, this person is called a successor trustee. They often perform the same roles, but getting the powers to do those things is a very different path. The executor normally won't get powers to do those things until well in advance, months into the probate process, whereas typically a successor trustee can get those powers to distribute those assets out very quickly, typically within a day or so of you passing away. So those are the things that you need to consider when you're putting in your last will and testament or your revocable living trust. Define your estate planning goals, list your assets, choose your beneficiaries, and choose an executor. Well, so let's recap. 3 of the 4 steps in creating an estate plan are: 1, get a power of attorney; 2, get an advance directive; 3, either get a last will and testament or a revocable living trust. And let's talk about step number 4. Step number 4 is to call me, because this is what I do for a living. I help people get their estate plan into place. I establish last will and testaments for them. I will establish revocable living trusts for them. I'll also, with every plan I've ever done, I've done a power of attorney and an advance directive. It just goes along with the package, whether it be a will-based package or a trust-based package. And so this is all I do. I don't do anything else. I don't do criminal law or business law. I do estate planning, and I help people get their estate plan into place. So number 4 is to reach out to me, and all of my information is in the description below. So, all right, so that's all we have to talk about today. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Again, we put out new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and make sure that you hit the like button because every like helps.